So welcome everyone. Thank you for watching this video. Today we are with Mr. Wandjilaye Godwe, and he'll be talking to us about his job, about how he went there, how he got where he is, and what he made before, what was his studies and all that. So good evening, Abdul. Thank you for being part of this. And so please present yourself.
Yes, hi, good evening all. My name is Wandjilaye. I'm a network engineer with Allegis. It's it's a company that make a lot of business, providing services to other companies, everything going from IT support from the piece I work with to staffing for other companies in in law, in IT, in healthcare, in many different areas. So I've been doing this for almost 10 years now, and yeah, it's a very interesting business, and I really enjoy it.
All right. Thank you so much, Abdul, for this. From what I know about you, I knew you weren't in the IT field before. So what were you doing?
Yes, I mean it's a very long story. My relationship with IT, it's go way beyond 10, 20 years. I mean, from the time I was a child, messing with electronics at home. But when I get the chance to leave Africa and for study, I started messing a little bit with software. So that's where I started. And when I got to the US, I was lucky to meet a couple of people who got me interested into networking. So that's in a very few words how I got to IT.
All right. So you actually went to college for IT or you didn't?
For software, I study software development.
Okay. You study software development.
Right,
So
exactly, and which is a totally different
yes.
part of the IT, because as you know, a lot of people when they talk about IT, they talk about something very specific. When IT is a very generic word for a lot of things, going from software development to network support to security to now there are so many different other fields like unified communication, voice over IP. There's so many different components that all unfortunately get presented as just IT. And that's why I wanted to, it was very important for me to say that, A, there was a software side of it. I got involved, and now it's more like network engineering, which is relying on using software built by other people, right? Install on the hardware that I'm using as a kind of end user, to provide services to companies.
That's really interesting. So from what I understand, actually your experience of software engineer is actually benefit to you in this new kind of path, this new career of network engineer, right?
Sometimes yes, sometimes absolutely. It's very helpful because um, that's help understand how sometimes the system work. When you have it's added value. It's always a plus to have um, how is that explained? Multi disciplinary on this, knowledge. It's always helpful to understand different languages, being comfortable with physics, chemical. You know, learn as much as you can because you never know how it's going to help you in a very specific field, right? So, in as a network engineer, sometimes I get in a situation where you troubleshoot and you got to rule out many different possible cause, right? Root cause of an issue. And at some point, the only explanation is the software. And then you can escalate to let's say, the vendor, can be Cisco, Palo Alto, or any other companies. And sure enough, they usually come back and say, oh yes, it's a bug, we are aware of this, we know that it's not supposed to happen, and we're trying to fixing it. So it's something that is always helpful.
All right. So you talked about Cisco, and I think we're gonna come back to it later. The question before talking about Cisco is, how was that move from software engineering to network engineering? Like, how did it happen? What made you change, and how did you change?
It's really opportunity and circumstances. When I moved in the US, there was a transition period where I was really trying to see what is the best way for me to get my both feet on the ground and move on with my life, right? So during that period, I met some people. I remember it was especially a young lady from Ghana, and I asked her, "Hey, what is the opportunity that make you work in such a beautiful place? You know, where I was working part time as a security guard when I just moved in the U.S." So she told me about the opportunity to start as an entry level network engineer through a very short path, which is the certification path that Cisco were providing. So I got introduced to a relative of her who at that time was already a network architect, and he was providing the training. So I perceived this as an opportunity, and I jumped in initially because I really wanted to get into something that was tied to technology, right? That's the first thing. And the other thing is that software, it's a very interesting thing, but
Yes.
um, I, I was really looking for something different, right? A different way of doing things. So when I got the opportunity, I was at the beginning very curious to see what that is. What is that about? So I got there. I was very interested to see that everything that people are doing, around the world, it's about client and server communication, right? People care about their computer to access remote resources, but very people are aware of everything sitting in between, you know. And that was for me a very good, very exciting moment to be to understand that I could be part of what is sitting in between that few people paying really attention to, and and that's how I got in. I loved it. I saw the hardware, I saw the software, I saw all the, 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 the all the different details that take place when the communication go from the client to a server and vice versa. And I just loved it. And it was, you know, I couldn't go back to something else, but and the money was good too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the money
for
was good.
sure.
The money was
So
good. And also
yes.
for me, another key point was when I got interested to that opportunity, I had to make a balance between studying in the university in the US with the costs and it's cost a lot of money to get educated here in the US, right? And I got the opportunity to learn on my own. I like this that level of independence, right? I really wanted to learn on my own. I had got the opportunity to work to study on my own, to get something that I really wanted to do, and something that could get me to the financial independence that I really wanted to have in a very short period of time, while avoiding getting into debt and all that. So it was all benefit for me.
That's great. That's great. So from what I understand, there's a different path from to get into that field, network engineering, network administration, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
than college, right? There's a different path.
Yes, and as I always tell people, um, things are changing. Education, the way we used to perceive it, as age, you got to go many years, sit in a classroom, getting knowledge from a teacher. This is something that I'm sure in couple of years from now is probably gonna start, fading away. Of course, there's still gonna be great school institution, large university, but they're gonna have to move to something different, and allow people to specialize at a very early stage of their life to something very specific that they want to do. And now we are very lucky because the societies, the business appreciate people who do the go through the normal school system, right? They have a role in large corporations, right? As well as those people who just want a very quick path to be very good at something very specific. They also have a very important role in companies. So it's very interesting now to see how companies try to balance between, a, I'm looking for someone with a degree that I'm going to have to train, that's going to cost me money and time, versus having someone who has a certificate. He know exactly what he need to do, and he can be productive from day one, right? So it's really, and everything of course has a pros and a con, right? But companies are really trying to balance this now, and I see a lot of company now leaning toward, for this position, you want someone who is willing to go, he's motivated, and company are very interested in people who can demonstrate that they are willing to learn, that they want to learn, that they're ready to learn new stuff. If you can demonstrate that, I think you should be very successful in everything you really want to learn.
So getting certified is kind of um, being being a learner, somebody who always wants to develop himself.
I
So
think so. This is what I truly believe, and people who are certified definitely demonstrate in my opinion, um, um, willingness to learn. Right? They are self motivated in most of the time, right? Because you're gonna have to look on your own, make some research. Sometimes most people, sometimes they take they go to, a couple of months program, right? But the program is just a couple of hours a day or a week. The rest of the time you have to do some research. You need to practice, 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 and through practice, sometimes, most of the time, that's where you're really going to understand how the technology works, right? It's practice. I did a lot of practice, a lot of it. And as you can see in the back, I still have the early hardware that I bought many years ago to play with. I still have it, and I still use them. So yeah,
that's really important from what I understand. That's really important
it is
to
very
practice
important.
and to learn more and more. All
Exactly,
right.
exactly.
So another question. You talked about Cisco earlier. So what are the certifications you had to take to get there? To become a network administrator? What certification do you have to start with? Is
Mhm.
there any modification in the cycle? What happened?
Okay, it's really depend on the role you are interested. Um, you have network engineer, right? So these fellows usually they can plan, design, implement, support, optimize a network infrastructure. So everything between the client and the server, right? So, and of course you have also a layer of security now, and many other features that are added to that. And you have when you look at a university, for instance, right? You got all these computers that are sitting in offices, in the library, right? There must be that guy that's going to make sure that all the computer have the right software on it, are patched with the latest antivirus, make sure that there is no issue with the hard drive on all this kind of thing, that the operating system is up to date and all this kind of thing, right? You got to make sure that, oh, there is a new student that came in, maybe he's going to need to have a new set of equipment, right? And create a new account in the Active Directory. This is where all the different users have an account with email address and all that, the password and all this kind of thing. So usually that is the job of a network administrator. He take care of that piece. So it's really the network administrator is a kind of a proxy between the end user, right, and other pieces of the network. That can be the network support, it can be the telephony, can be the security, can be other things. So usually the network administrator understand that, this issue that got reported, it's related to security. He can engage security. It's a network issue. So he has the basic knowledge and understanding of how these different components work, but he cannot go um, too deep into troubleshooting. So so network administrator really required, in my understanding, a very large understanding of how different IT components interact, without being too deep in really how that's work. I don't know if that thing
Yeah,
it's
yeah, that completely makes sense. So, from what I know about you two,
mhm.
I know you got the CCNA first, the Cisco Certified
Yeah,
Network Administrator certification,
yeah,
and after that, what did you do anything after that? Did you
yes,
or before that?
yes, and then back to the certification and path. So Cisco came up with, I remember back in the day they had this three layer of certification, where you had to take the CCNA, I think it was Cisco Certified Network as Associate, right? Which is the entry level, and then you got the CCNP, Cisco Network, uh, 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 um, um, CC, Cisco Certified Network Professional, right? CCNP, right? And then you got the CCIE, the expert level, and then they created many years ago a very high certification called Cisco Architect, right? So usually people who really want the entry position, work in the SOC, in the NOC, Network Operation Center, being the lowest troubleshooting tier in the hierarchy, they go with the CCNA, right? When you want to become an expert in networking, right, then you can push to get the CCNP level certification, right? That's going to give you a more in-depth understanding of how networking work, right? And then if you really want to become what we just call an expert now, then you can pursue the CCIA. It's a very long journey, very tricky journey. A lot of people try to do it, but it's very hard. It's getting even harder to get the certification, right? So it's very very exciting. A lot of people, unfortunately, um, don't understand that something tricky with the certificate is that you give value to the certificate. You can pass the CCNP or CCNA certificate without being a CCNA. You're gonna have the certificate, but the value you becoming a CCNA is gonna be through troubleshooting, to testing, to learning. That's how you really give value to the certificate. You're gonna see on the field a lot of people, they claim they have the paper, they have the certificate, but they lack, the true
True
understanding of
understanding, true value of
exactly. And that is a little thing. I mean, nothing is perfect, right? But it's still there. So Cisco has a certification track, CCNA, CCNP, CCIE, Architect. They did some adjustment recently, but it's the structure remained the same. They just diversify a little bit how the path are, but you still have this different layer. Other vendor just do the same. Amazon has this different path. System operator and Amazon architect, associate, uh, professional level. So they have all these different layer of certification.
All right. For someone who can be listening to us, what you're saying is that you don't really need to have a 5 year degree in college in order to enter the IT field, information technology field, and to grow in it, right? So somebody can just, find his interest, look for something that is in his interest, something he would like to do. Because from something I learned too in the small life I have is that um, if you do something you like, you do it better.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody can just look at something he likes and choose a certification and see which one is suitable to his competencies, his qualities, and all that. That's it.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. And to your point, um, it's really depend on how far you want to go, right? It's really going to depend on how far you want to go. You rarely going to see someone just with certificate being becoming um, let's say IT manager, or having a chief of department, IT department and position. This kind of position, make this kind of career where you can, move from one position to becoming a executive. It's usually, corporate want to see a degree or this kind of thing. It's look nice. It's demonstrate that you have learned, the nitty and gritty of the system. You know how to speak, you know how to write beautiful word, beautiful paperwork, explain nice thing. You might need a degree for that. But if you're in a position where you like, what, I'm not interested in, on this, the drama of becoming, a top executive here, you know, but I want to make good money, then you can go full power with certificate. Because America, it's very interesting to say that they don't pay people. Company going to stop paying people for only having a degree. People pay for the service. Getting money is an exchange of service, right? I bring you my expertise and you give me money. And there is a very strange understanding out there of, hey, I have a degree. Because I have a degree, you're going to hire me and pay me good money. This way of thinking, this is something that is going to change. It's just a matter of time, but this is going to change. Company are trying to figure out, how can I value your expertise and give you money in exchange for that. This is why, in my opinion, you start seeing some university taking certificate for credit,
Exactly.
right? Because somewhere there is a lot of thinking about, hey, where are we going with education now, right? It's look like company, they value the expertise. Okay, so now, in order to have you as a student here, I'm going to take your hands-on experience, turn it into a credit so that you can come and graduate, right? So that's mean there is a dynamic somewhere that we really need to pay very close attention. It's something interesting is happening, and I'm very excited to see in 10 years where we're going to be with this, certificate thing, and go sitting many hours in front of one teacher going to tell you, ask you to read one entire books, when you just need, um,
To
30,
practice.
yeah, yeah, practice and other
Practice.
stuff. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for this. It's really, really interesting, actually. So another question now is how how did you take all that? Like, what were your greatest, let's say, problems? The things you had to go through when you started a new career. What did you have to go through? What was difficult for you? What How did you get out of it? Is that I think that's the most important, because it's good to fall, but
Mhm.
it's more important to come back on your feet. So how did you face difficult situations when you started to change your path?
Okay. I mean, the my first challenge was English, the language, right? When I got here, and I always tell people that I've learned English on my own, right? So I've never been to any English program, right, to learn the language. So I had to find a way to read my first, CCNA 1500 pages books, right? I had to find my way through the book, right? So that was a challenge, and and I understood that I needed to be patient, and that's helped me a lot. Sometimes, being patient is a very good thing. It's that, and I knew that it would be difficult from the beginning. You know, I knew that it would be difficult, but I knew that something. This is you got to start slow to become fast after, right? So I knew that if
Just
I
started it.
learned, yes, if I had learned and understood the very good understanding of the fundamentals, the basics of networking, it would pay off. And even today, most of the challenge I see other people struggling with is because they have not spent the time to understand the basics, right? So that was the first thing, was it was the language, it was the new technology, it was something totally new. I had to figure out how this networking things work. And after that, of course, it was the fear of, is it really true that you can work and make money with just a certificate that you got, working on your own, right? And it's good to have confidence when you start doing anything. I mean, no matter what you do, no matter what you do. I mean, even if it's just opening doors at the hotel, to let people in. If you are good at it, if you are the very best at opening the door,
Yes.
you can make a good live. You can live off of it, right? You can make a good living, right? So it's good to understand that if you want to be a security guy, if you want to be a network engineer, if you want to be a system administrator, if you want to be a cloud engineer, right? It's really up to you to take the time to learn the technology, to practice. And people say usually that when the student is ready, they would be a teacher. If you are committed and you really like to know something, you would see people gonna come, and people gonna come and help you. You're gonna meet people that you would have never believed that you would meet, these people that they would help you moving forward. So it's just about, and I was lucky when I started. I was so dedicated that uh, um, I got a mentor who really understood that I really wanted to become a network engineer, and he put a lot of effort, to help me, give me a lot of great advice, and I continue to do that today.
That's really interesting what you said about the mentorship, because we're in a society where companies want experience, but they won't let you have the experience. So they want you to, let's say, apply for a network engineer position. They want me to have 5 years of experience,
Mhm.
but I just came out of school. And coming out of
Mhm.
school, they tell you have a degree and you will get that job easily.
Mhm.
But when you go to the company, they tell you we want experience. So what you're saying is actually touch a really interesting point, because certification get you can get you in there like easily. more easily than with a degree, actually. And that's true.
Exactly.
So,
That's the gotcha. That is the point. This is how these two systems, see, now they start merging now, because that's the reason why I observe that most of the time I see people applying for a job, getting rejected, denied the position because they don't have the experience. And then they go and do some certificate and come back, and now they can demonstrate that they understand the technology because they have the certificate, right?
yes,
So you see that the certification it's filling a void that people had issue filling in the past, which was, how do you demonstrate that you have the experience, right? So
yes,
now you're going to see a lot of people, they're going to go in 4 year degree, and at the end, either the university going to be like, oh, actually for this credit you can have certificate, right? So it's part of the 4 years, or they're going to do the 4 years and then they're going to go and take a certificate from CompTIA or Cisco or whatever company to say that, hey, I have the experience. So yes, absolutely. The certificate, it should be considered as experience.
yes. So, for a young person, for example, like me, who wants to get started in, let's say, any field, because I know there's not only certification for IT. Social workers have certification, nursing has certification, a lot of different, different field has certification. So a young person like me wants to get in, but we don't, let's say, not that the person don't like school, but the person knows that school will take a long time and he needs to make money now. Certification is actually a way to go. So now
Yes,
we learn that certification is the way to go.
yes. I mean, I'm going to tell you honestly, if I have a young brother, coming in this country, I'm not going to let him go and do that. That is me. I'm not going to recommend him to go on a 4 years program. What I'm going to tell him is that, hey, you know what? Do a certificate, get a certificate, st- start working, and then you can leverage your workplace, either to finance to pay for your education. This is, I see a lot of people doing it, right? Or at the end of the day, the reason why people going to a four degree program is to get the money. So you're already making the money with your certificate. Just get very good at what you're doing now, and instead of spending 4 years, take maybe 6 years. Just the point is to get there in 6 years. When by the time you get to your bachelor degrees, or to the graduation, you would have built a lot of experience that is going to make you extremely marketable.
Yes.
So I think a young person who really want to be independent now and has project, to make a career later on, I would advise him to get a certificate, start getting a job, and then go for a degree.
So, exactly. Thank you so much for this advice, this pieces of advice. It will really help a lot of people. Now, a couple of questions before we finish.
Mhm.
When you started to work, how did you find the first job? Are you still in that company?
Mhm.
Was it the same? Uh, how did you evolve? How did the promotion came?
Mhm. Okay, so the job thing, it's a very, especially the first job. It's a very interesting experience, right? It's especially for the people getting for the first time to a job interview. You have to be mentally prepared. Mentally prepared for me means you need to understand the the industry you're going into, understand the job you're applying, and make sure that you're over prepared for the job interview, because you don't want to go to the job interview and being destroyed by the people there. You want to go there knowing that, hey, I understand, I know my stuff. If somebody asked me, I would tell him exactly, to the best of my understanding, how I understand the challenges. And if I don't understand, being open to say, hey, it's very interesting. I don't know about that particular topic. However, I would spend time tonight to read and research a
Learn
topic.
about it. Yeah.
Yes, just to let the people in front of you know that, hey, nobody's perfect. You are willing to learn and you're going to put time. I saw a couple of times people sending an email after job interview when I was in my first job, because I was involved with the hiring process, and they were sending an email to say, oh, to your question, I made some research and this is what I think the good response was, right? That is very interesting to see that kind of attitude. It's very good to demonstrate that. So my mentor asked me to be well prepared. So I study a lot and I was very confident that, hey, no matter what type of question come, if I don't know 100%, I would know at least 70%, right? And that is the first thing. The second thing is um, how you present yourself at a job interview, right? So people, showing up, with, a shirt with dirt on the collar and this kind of thing, you know, it's it's affect the perception, right? And usually when you go to job interview, after the first, couple of 3 5 minute, people, when they see you, they have already an idea of, the type of person you can be. So if you can go and give the best version of you when you show at the job interview, it's always a very good thing to do, right? So master uh, uh, um, the thing that the industry you want to get. You see, if it's networking and you're applying for a entry level position, right? Do some research, see what is required for that position. Make sure that you truly understand. Make sure that you cover the basics, right? You know, go there on time. You know, make sure that your appearance is very good, and that should do the trick. So when I got to my first job, this is pretty much the attitude I had, and that's how I applied for a entry position in the NOC. And because of how I present myself during the job interview, they say, hey, you know what? We don't think that you were fit for the entry position job. We're going to give you an engineering position. So that's how I got, just my first job, it was directly as a network engineer, right? So of course, when you get to the first day, you had the labs, you had to expect everything that you study, how it's work. But when
The
you
same
got
thing.
it's a very interesting, because now you really work with live uh, 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 systems, right? So if you screw up, you might create a lot of damage to the company. They might lose a lot of money or lose business. So you got to be very careful. So just get the attitude. And this is what I had too, to see who can help you when you start working, trying to get, a couple of people that that, okay, these people are open, they can give you advice, they can help you grow, understand the company, understand, who you can reach out, how you can escalate an issue, trying to find out. Because if you go into and you want to be the expert on your own, it's not going to work, right?
Mm.
Go there, humble yourself, get some people to know that you are willing to learn from them, and take one day at a time. That is my best advice. Once you got the job, take one day at a time. That's what's happened to me. The first day I came, I was like, oh my God, man, am I really gonna make it? because of so many emails coming and all this stuff. And I told myself, you know what? Try to survive the first day. And when I got the second day, I said, okay, let's survive this day too. And then I told myself, okay, just see if you can make it to the first week. After the first week, I told myself, okay, you know what? See if you can make it to the next Friday. And then the first month comes by. And then the first 6 months. And then everything become a habit.
Just went okay.
Exact. Exact.
All right. And the part that can be juicy for a lot of us,
Mhm.
the salary. How do you have to negotiate your salary? Do you have to, because you talked about knowing how to present yourself.
Mhm.
So part of it is also knowing how to sell yourself too.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
did you have to negotiate your salary? Did you have a basic salary? How does it work in the IT field, IT world?
Yes. So actually, if you go on the internet, right? Depending on the position that you apply, you can have a salary range. You know that, okay, for this type of position, usually salary is between this and that, right?
Yes.
So you have kind of an idea, right? What I would say, if it is your very first job, don't be too picky.
Mm.
Just make sure that you kind of at least getting above the minimum for the position, because you really want to get a job. You want to have something that you're going to put on your resume and move forward. You really
Yes.
want to start somewhere, right? I mean, take what's come. If you can get a job, get the job, do your best. If they don't keep you, that's fine. At least you would have that experience, right, of your first job, right? So yes, for the very first job, I make sure that you are kind of above the minimum of the range, right? Let's say for entry position, um, CCNA network engineer entry position usually is between 40k and 60k, right? So if you are 40, 45, 50, that's fine, right? But know that the more experience you're going to have, of course the salary is going to follow, right? That's one thing. And the second thing is that once you have worked for a company, if you want to move to another company, then you can start being picky, right? You can start talking
Negotiating your
about
salary.
yes, you can start negotiating, right? And negotiation and salary negotiation, the way I understand it now, because that's the kind of mistake, not a mistake, but I was not aware of that initially. Salary negotiation is not only about how many zero you're going to have at the end of the year, salary. It's about also all the other benefit that you can have, the 401k, flexibility. Flexibility is something that there is no price tag on it. But if a company say, hey, if you don't feel good, you can work from home, or if you have some emergency, you can take the day off, or do this. This is a huge benefit, right? That you need to consider if you think that you might need that, right? So if you have opportunity, some company offer tuition reimbursement. This is something that you need to, if you have a plan.
To be aware of.
Yes, let's say if you have a plan to study, to have your company pay for your education. If you go to for a company that's going to pay you maybe a little bit less, but they have student tuition reimbursement, versus another company that say, oh, we're going to pay you a little bit more, but you don't have tuition reimbursement, I would go with the company that offer me tuition reimbursement, because this is a benefit that I can use, right? Healthcare. So take all this into account and see what is really best for you. But don't only focus on, hey, I want for $40,000 a year or 50,000 a year. Yes, you can get 40,000 a year, but the benefit can be such a huge package that if you put all together, you might end up with maybe 60 or $70,000. So just not only focus on the how much money you're going to make at the end of the year.
So from what we learn now, what we learn from you now is that salary is a package, it's a set of different things. It's not
Exactly. It's a
it's not
package.
only the check or the direct deposit you receive.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
salary is a package and you have to know how to sell yourself.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. I'm really happy we could have this conversation today because from I had the great chance to talk to you a couple of times, and from something you say that I will always remember is there are two types of people: the 97% and the 3%.
Yes.
The 97% follow the basic and the routine path, but the
Mhm.
3% are the one who understand that
Yes.
now you can build something. And you say something else that I think can help a lot of people is that you have to choose when you want to sacrifice your time and yourself. Either you sacrifice it now and you enjoy it later, either you enjoy now and you sacrifice it later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's
You're going
something.
to pay one way or the other. So it's always good to pay earlier.
Mhm.
By pay I mean the sacrifice that you put, then later.
All right.
Yeah.
So those are actually a lot of questions that we had, and I think that it can help a lot of people. So thank you so much, Mr. Wanjilai. And do you have anything to say to finish before we finish?
Oh yes, I mean, thank you for that opportunity to talk to you, and my understanding is that you're going to share that recording with other people. So, hey, it's a very great time for the younger generation now. You guys have so many. I mean, it's just unbelievable how many opportunities are out there. I mean, opportunities to make good money, have a very good and decent life, right? And guys, it's only going to be up to you. The decision that you're going to make today are going to affect your path. It's just a matter of decision, right? Some people are going to make wacky decision. They're going to be casual on what they want to do now. You got to make very good decision right now. Where I want to be in the next 4 5 years. What is happening? What is really happening in the country? What is the new industry? If it's IT, what is changing? Or in the IT, people used to have huge data center. They used to own a lot of equipment on premises. They got server, they got all this fancy stuff. And now they figured out that it was costing a lot of money for them to maintain. And somebody came up many years ago with, oh, you know what? We can host all these services for you. You can have email server hosted by us. We're going to give you a little check at the end of the month, but we're going to maintain everything. This is how cloud computing came. And now everybody realized that, oh, actually, I can save a lot of money
Yes.
migrating all my system to the cloud. Oh, is cloud the future? Apparently, yes, cloud is the future, right? And oh wow, now we have Wi-Fi. The 5G is coming. Wi-Fi 6 is coming. So we have all this Internet of Things. A lot of devices at home. Your microwave talk to the internet, your watch, your coffee machine, your light bulb. Oh wow, all this system needs some layer of security at some point, right? Oh, security is a solution. Yes, especially because, oh, this system at some point have to talk to cloud-based solution. Oh, this is an option, right? Oh, wow, we need good people, with the skill of, accounting. Oh, wow, do you have certificate for accounting? You can do a CPE certification if you want to be an accountant and give good money. You can make good money out of it. So, oh, wow, I'm planning, just to have a family. I don't want too much drama. I want to make good money. I want to buy sport car and I want to do this thing. Okay, wow. Just do my certificate. I'm fine with it. Oh
That's
wow,
right.
I really want to be, the guy with a very nice suit, with they're gonna call me boss, and I'm gonna be the guy on top of the food chain. All right, I go with the many years degrees, and whoa, no guarantee that I'm gonna get a job. No guarantee that with a degree I'm gonna get a job. With a certificate, you have some
I
experience
get the
there.
job. Yeah.
So man, there's so many opportunities out there. So many opportunities. Just guys, just make the right choice. Make the right choice and know that you gonna pay one way or the other. This is it. I wish somebody had told me this when I was your age. You same thing. You're gonna make party now. You're gonna make have fun. You're gonna do all the crazy stuff in the world, and you're gonna sacrifice valuable time that you could have leveraged to learn skill because your brain is still plastic. You can learn things, this thing, right? And down the road, you're gonna age. You're gonna miss out a lot of opportunities down the road, or you can decide to postpone the craziness, postponed, all because you can have fun even at 70 years. Trust me, you still can, right? Take the next 5, 10 years to set up a great path for you. And after that, you can have all the fun in the world. Money is going to be there and you're going to enjoy a good life. So it's really up to you. And this is America. It's no matter what people say, this country is still the country where most, if not all, dream can become true.
That's true. That's true, sir. All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciated this. I really enjoyed it. And I'm going back with a lot. And I think a lot of people will go back with a lot from this interview too. So thank you, Mr. Wandjilaye. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.